I never dated any woman that I encountered in the psychiatric clinic, but they gave me an idea of the diversity of what's out there.
You said you're autistic last night, right?
But I mean,
Is it just me, or is there this weird flirtatious tone to this interview? Oh
Okay,
no.
Can you do that?
He's not happy with that?
no, I'm not showing my phone. So there's lots of women who are crazy, so you're probably crazy too. So listen, you're deluded.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't.
Oh. Right, let's talk about this then. So yesterday we had JF Gariepy and Andrew Wilson. Andrew came on and we had a good chat, and we got some people on to sort of challenge him in his interview and his perspective on it. I think I've kind of made my take on this clear. I said right at the start of watching the interview yesterday, there isn't really enough evidence that JF Gariepy has murdered someone. His actions are very extremely suspicious, and his conception of this is very far removed from mine. I don't really understand this whole idea that you would drop someone off like this and just kind of leave them to their own devices. There is, you know, a lot of misinformation that is being said about this, and people are kind of running along with narratives that have been disproven by information that has come out, which I kind of get. You know, it's funny to say he's a murderer. I get that. Also, you know, the guy is like psychotic from what I can tell. He's fucking an insane dude, and he has had obviously legal issues before with a mentally disabled woman, and apparently, you know, taken her away from a family and whatnot. But yeah, I don't mind having a few jokes about it and whatever, but to seriously state that JF Gariepy is definitely a murderer, and to act like, to say that he probably isn't based on the evidence is insane, is obviously ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? They're just, you know, he could be. There's sure. I mean, he's, you know, this person's gone missing, and he was, you know, living with her and whatnot. Obviously, he is going to be the prime suspect in what's going on. But the information that's coming out, all of it seems to kind of go against this narrative that he killed someone. Yeah, Alanar. Yes. Yes, Alanar. That's a good take. I don't know if murder's been disproven, but obviously it was never really substantiated, and it's become even less likely over time. Yeah. People were like sort of looking at old clips and stuff. And yes, of course, it's very funny that he's wearing some suit, but you're kind of looking, it's like confirmation bias, right? You're looking at a clip and you're going, oh, this must be evidence on my side. But if you actually take a step back and you go, okay, well, let's think about this seriously. Obviously, you know, him in a hazmat suit disinfecting after coming in up during coronavirus 3 years ago is not like evidence that he did something. It's a funny video that makes it seem like he perhaps did, but it's not evidence that he did something. But you know, I don't blame people for coming to that conclusion. You know, when I first watched it, I was like more on board with the idea that he did it. I thought, damn, is he killed his fucking wife here? What the fuck? But as more information has come out, it's getting less and less likely that that's the case, you know? The key thing to remember is that whilst he is telling us things, and we've got to take it on his word to some level, there's also some stuff you can kind of think about a bit more, right? So it is likely true the police have been investigating and have been in contact with him. They probably did think he was like a big suspect early on and thought that maybe he had done something. And they probably do still have concerns as time goes on. But like, he claimed he dropped her off somewhere, and he's saying that he told the police that. The police have come out and said she was spotted on the 19th, right? You've got to assume that the police would have gone and verified and checked that what he said is true, that he did drop her off. Because, you know, otherwise, like, yeah, he would still be a prime suspect, and they probably might have even taken further steps against him, right? But the narrative, as far as I understand it, is that he dropped her off on the 17th of June at this gas station. People keep saying he dropped her off into the wilderness to walk out into the wild to survive. I think, particularly based on the interview yesterday, that doesn't seem to be what he's claiming. He seems like he dropped her off at some gas station in a Canadian town somewhere. and the police have said that she was spotted 2 days later as well. So yeah, that's where I am with it. You know, I don't want to ruin everyone's fun. We can have some memes about it and whatnot, but let's just not get too ahead of ourselves and not throw away this kind of idea that you should base it on what the facts are. You know, in looking at this. Okay, I've seen this woman. Yes, it's bad, guys. Yes, I know. Women on Twitch are out of control. I agree with you. Correct. Anyway, I still want to watch these interviews. His behavior has been extremely suspicious and continues to be. I'm wondering if there's anything further we're going to glean from this interview. Let's watch it and find out, shall we?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lauren DeLaguna. I am so honored to be joined by JF Gariepy. We just went over how to pronounce your name, but it is a difficult. Why don't you pronounce it for the crowd?
Jean-François Gariepy.
Jean-François
Beautiful.
Gariepy.
You said it. Wow, that is such an accent. Yeah, it's a nice name.
Who's this this close to naked person on the thumbnail? Is that you?
Yeah. Do I not look like my picture? Do you think I'm catfishing?
Well, I don't know. With the weird face, I wasn't really recognizing. So what motivated you to put yourself close to naked on the thumbnail?
That's a great question. I thought I was going to be doing the interview, but here you are. You're quite the interviewer. So I took all my thumbnail pictures the same time I was doing a photo shoot, and I forgot to bring a cover up, and I thought it would be funny, and I never realized I'd be interviewing someone about their missing wife, and here we are. So I have been using that same picture for other thumbnails as well. But anyway, I actually want to...
So this Lauren DeLaguna person apparently does real crime stuff. I don't know too much about them. But yeah, I'm just looking at some of these thumbnails. And I mean, the funny thing is, they used to be a bit more kind of like, look. They used to be a bit more serious, black and white, stuff like that. But as time has gone on, I think she's realised that putting herself on, look at this. I tried to watch some of this conversation with Andrew Wilson, but it was just kind of unbearable. It was just kind of unbearable, to be honest with you. I don't know. I just found it very difficult to sit through. Anyway, she has got the kind of annoying... I mean, Andrew Wilson said it best, I think. The woman prattle. I don't know. I thought that was quite a good way of putting it from what I saw. But yeah, let's continue.
Before we get started too deep into, you know, this really painful situation that you're going through, because I really empathize. Like, I can't imagine what it must be going through to be dealing with a missing wife. I do want to get into who you are, because you're a fascinating person in yourself.
Okay.
So can you tell me about like your education, your educational background, and your career?
Well, I'm a biologist, and I've done some research at the doctoral level on the brain, how the brain controls basic behaviors like respiration and locomotion.
Mine's Shreddy's girlfriend.
And I've always been interested. Ultimately, my question is, how does human society emerge from brain and biological reactions in the brain? That was what motivated my research career. And eventually, after doing my PhD on more basic stuff, I moved on to monkey research. So I started studying communities of monkeys, and I studied them while they were interacting socially to see.
Wait, is he Pepe posting right now or not? I don't know. I don't know. Is he referring to?
What are the brain mechanisms behind monkey social interaction? Because ultimately I see human society as a bunch of monkeys.
Oh, I forgot to add the emotes again.
Threatening each other.
I've got a new Pepe emote. Let me see if I can add it
alliances.
quickly.
So I thought that the monkey was a good model to understand what were the evolutionary roots of our complex political and social behaviors. I was not super satisfied by the amount of things I was let to do and the extent of the freedom that is left to an academic. When you're in the university, you have to submit a lot of your thinking to other people. You have to ask permission. You have to receive a grant from the government. I stopped caring about this and I went on my own eventually and decided to do science on my own without caring about what the system would think about it and discovering ultimately my ultimate contribution to biology is the revolutionary phenotype,
I was just
which
about to
is a
ask you about
theory.
that. What,
Yes,
when was that published?
in 2018. So I went on my own and decided to design my own theory of biology to explain the very first event at the beginning of a line of descent, the events that have happened 4 billion years ago on our planet and that gave birth to DNA-based life. And the theory that I present shows extremely worrying potential for the future of humanity because it seems that we are about to engage in another phenotypic revolution. That is the moment we start playing with our genes, the moment we start modifying modifying babies genetically, we will be causing an event that will eventually turn us into a class of slaves for a centrally controlling computer that will modify us into puppets of its own at its service. And that
Yeah, that all sounds correct. Does anyone see any issue with that? I think that all sounds correct and true. I'm in agreement with that completely, honestly.
is a very dangerous direction that we're taking, and it all starts with a single genetic modification of a single human being.
Oh, you think he's
And
actually
so
right?
the message of my book is let us not do this. Let us accept sexual reproduction as humans and the importance of it for continuing what humans became, which is a complex, freely acting, freely thinking species.
Wow, that's really complex. I agree with you on a lot of points about like the modification of humans. I've previously discussed on this show eugenics in form of abortion. I think, for instance, we had Lila Hart's husband on, and Lila Hart has spina bifida, and so people like her would be exterminated. And so, you know, there's a lot of I haven't heard the theory that it would make us slave to machinery before, so I'd like to hear a little bit more about how that evolves from, you know, modifying human and playing God into becoming a slave to machinery.
Basically, there are two forms of evolution. You either evolve as the carrier of your own genes or you evolve to serve another carrier. The example in nature that we have of this is basically all known animals versus bees and ants.
If we're genetically selecting for the best traits, that would mean there is a computer making those calculations. When does the slavery part come in, though? I don't understand that bit. How does the slavery? Like, I think you're missing a bit out. Like, that's not completely unreasonable to think that the computer would select the best traits and we'd be using some sort of model to do that. And so that's a problem. What's all this slavery business? I mean, I wasn't fully listening to it, to be honest. It just sounded crazy. I ordered the book. He's saying we shouldn't play God with genetics. I mean, is that, I don't know, man. I know nowhere near enough to really have a strong take on it. It sounds like we shouldn't play God with genetics, but then does that mean we can't, like, get rid of spina bifida, say? That seems bad as well.
When you look
That's
at
my
bees
take.
and ants, something special happened there to their evolution because a single bee or ant apparently doesn't care about dying if it helps the colony, if it helps the queen. And when you ask yourself, what is the difference? Why did bees become bee and why did all the other animals become self-serving carriers of their own genes. And ultimately, it's because when you are an individual that serves a central entity's capacity to make babies, when you have a queen, you are not evolving for yourself. You are evolving at the service of the queen. And so you must never find
so this is when this is where his kind of anti-government takes come in. He kind of weaves it in from this. Is that what it is? So the queen in the real world is the central government. Right. Okay. I think he sounds fucking insane, but I can at least understand like where he's coming from, even if I don't necessarily I'm fully on board with it.
yourself in a situation where the source of your genes is another reproductive entity, and you're merely just a copy of it, a kind of blueprint produced copy of it that merely acts phenotypically. You must always be the reproductive agent in your chain of transmission, or else you become a sterile worker like the bees. So what I'm saying is that once a central AI
I was just actually going to bring up the bees. I mean, the bees evolve, right? And they serve queens. So wouldn't they kind of disprove your theory a little bit, or no? What am I missing?
Well, I'm not saying it's not evolution. It is evolution. And a phenotypic revolution is still evolution. But I say it's the wrong type of evolution if you want free humans, if you want the kind of complexity that led to our civilization. Exactly. So if you want to see everyone starting to team up, self-sacrifice, shoot themselves dead after having accomplished their purpose for a central AI.
Okay, this is all well and good. All I want to know is how do we get to cyberpunk? I want to have a fucking rocket installed in my arm. How do we get to there? That's what I'm for.
Then you can go for that direction. But I'm saying it's the wrong direction if you like humans the way they are, which is a free thinking and creative species. So what would happen if we were to start genetically modifying ourselves is there would be a runaway where people do more and more genetic modification because it gets better and better for them. And they would increasingly need the contribution of AI systems that would decide what's a good gene, what's a bad gene.
Gingers wouldn't make the cut. I got to be honest with you. I think there's other races. There's entire races that I think are going to have problems under this system.
And ultimately, this AI system would at first serve us extremely well, and the people who would get those genetic modifications would effectively improve a lot. But at some point, the AI would start making trade-off decisions. What if I reduce a little bit the creativity of this guy? What if I make this guy just a mechanician? What if I make this guy just a janitor? What if I, when you play with the human phenotype and you start asking, what is the extra here? What could we get rid of? There's so much things we could get rid of.
Why would you
and what I'm explaining
human beings to do?
Right. Okay. Hearing him out a bit more. I think like his end conclusion, the slavery stuff, the central AI, that stuff sounds nuts to me. I think the base level idea that there could be traits that we want to modify, but we probably shouldn't do that because of what the kind of slippery slope could lead to. Like, for example, if you could have a modification to make your blue eyes green or something like that, you know? It's a bit like Jurassic Park. They were so busy wondering whether they could do it, they didn't think about whether they should.
Do menial tasks if we have, like, if we're so advanced in technology at that point, wouldn't we have technology to be doing those menial tasks anyway? So why
exactly
would we...
So the AI would literally say, well, I have a better janitor than a human janitor, and here's your little robot. So that's the problem, where eventually, yes, this AI decides to replace us with something that's not even human. But along the way, what the AI does is a class system that is like that of bees, which is, all right, you are a specialized...
Well, no, wait. There's a difference between looking at this sort of stuff if you're fighting against some sort of disorder that's deadly, you know? If it's like, cancer genes and stuff like that, or spina bifida, or some terrible thing, that's fine. But then it starts to get a bit dicey, doesn't it? Because it's like, okay, what about autism? Well, more serious forms of autism that are life debilitating, yeah, maybe then. But what about more mild forms of autism where it doesn't have that substantive impact on someone's life? You know, Like, what about less severe disorders that people have a perfectly fine life with, but we decide to start eliminating those? You know, what if we feel that we can modify it to the point where, I don't know, like everyone's nice to each other? So I don't fucking know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's a bit. I'm a fucking retard on any of this stuff. I can understand that we should be cautious about the level at which we start to fuck with it to almost frivolous degrees, because then, you know, we could be entering sort of eugenics territory, couldn't we? You know, okay, well, we've got this thing now where we can eliminate the gene that leads to higher levels of pigmentation in people's skin. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what Joe would think about that himself, but there's certainly a risks and issues of going down a pathway of just endless modification of this stuff. So I think I'm understanding what he's saying, and I think he's criticizing this kind of playing God with modifying genes to an an unrepentant, unrestricted level.
As sterile worker, you are a carrier of food, you are a soldier, and that doesn't leave place for the complex human phenotype that anyone would consider basically is a human. It's not being human to not be able to go another way, to become creative in something that wasn't expected. And that is to me the gift of sexual selection. Because why have humans become so creative and capable of comedy and charming each other and creating amazing things that shock people and that change history? It's because ultimately we're looking for pussy. And we're doing so, we're trying to be the most successful we can to attract more pussy to us. And in this search, in this eternal search for satisfying the other sex, we have springboarded ourselves into high intelligence, high technology civilization.
Okay.
So he said it in a very grotesque way, which just kind of, especially with some of his choice of partners. Why does he go for low IQ people? If, why does he do that if he's worried about this stuff? Anyway, the basic point I was going to make is I think that there's a sort of randomness to our interactions which lead to people being created, which through their randomness are fantastic and wonderful and great, you know? Whereas if we just modify it and do that, we kind of are removing that element, and we're like, imagine if there was a world where you could eliminate anger from our psyche somehow. You could eliminate anger or other forms of emotion and stuff like that. Like, do we really want that to happen? You know, it's a bit like that movie Equilibrium. Who's seen that one? Who's seen that one? Demolition Man. Yeah, they get the idea. They're knitting and stuff afterwards, aren't they? Gun Qatar. I thought that was so cool. That when I was a kid, it's a bit cringe looking back on it now. Anyway, you know, I know that what he's saying sounds insane, and there's some aspects of it I think are really retarded, and some of it is just stated in an odd way. But I think this idea that we should be cautious about modifying aspects of our genes is probably reasonable. Like, we should be cautious about that, and there should be government intervention and restrictions on companies being able to have unrepentant ability to modify genes however they desire, to however they see fit. Anyway.
Find that interesting. Some of the more intelligent people that I know are less interested in sexual reproduction and like more, but you know, I understand what you're saying. Like, you're saying that like the more intelligent, more creative people have an easier time getting laid, and that's why we evolved to become more and more creative.
Yes, and I would say yes, in current society, high intelligence is probably a hindrance evolutionarily. So having a high intelligence in 2023 leads to less babies on average. I believe that's because what we call intelligence today is kind of a form of malleability of the mind. Really, you're intelligent. Why? Because You can have a teacher insert whatever meme they want in your head, and you're able to repeat it at the moment of the exam. That's what being intelligent is today. When I talk of a drive for intelligence that stems from sexual selection, I talk of what leads to a man 400 years ago being able to take some...
It's all very well talking about this, okay? But I've got to be real with you. I kind of appreciate the fact that Andrew just got to the point. Andrew is just like straight to the point. Let's talk about your missing wife that's maybe dead. But here we are, fucking 10 minutes in, talking about all this fucking science shit. It's fun for like 5 minutes, but come on, let's get to the meat and potatoes here.
Wood here, some stone here, some whatever there, and be able to hunt a deer with whatever he was collecting. That's the kind of intelligence that would get you a good woman then.
And that's all in your book?
You mean going into the wild hunting for deer? I'm able to do it?
No, but like these theories are all in your book.
Oh, well, this book is specifically, yes, about the problem of what happens when a piece of your body, when a computer you've created, or when whatever
Why don't
around
you show it to the camera? Why don't you show it off?
The revolutionary phenotype, the amazing story of how life begins and how it ends.
I gotta be honest with you, I kind of want to read his book now. This whole thing, I think, has partly served as a promotional tool for JF Gariepy, and he's fucking used it. I actually want to read his book. I'm like, fuck me, I'm actually interested to see what his fucking ideas are. He's played a blinder. He's played a blinder with this. The thing is, I don't know if his book is all about, like, how, you know, all the race stuff. I'm not sure. I might find that a little bit distasteful. But, you know, this idea is quite intriguing to me. I'm like, okay, well, what's he got to say for himself? Yeah, by the end of this, we're all going to be massive JF Gariepy fans. And then it's going to come out that he did murder his missus, and we're going to be like, well, you know, we'll be apologizing for it. We'll be saying the evidence is fake and the Matrix is coming for him.
So my book is about... Sorry, what?
You said a couple of things. What is a good woman? Because you said, you know, in order to get a good woman, what is like a good woman?
Well, a good woman is a woman who gives you excellent hope of having a chain of 10 babies before you die.
Right, okay.
So a good woman is a woman who...
Okay, here we go.
Do you care at all about like her appearance, her intelligence, how funny she is, how...
Basically, all human beings, all males care about the beauty and appearance of women, because this beauty and appearance is an indicator of their fertility over long term. So the younger, the more clear skin, the more young she appears within boundaries of being capable of producing babies now, will be what's attractive to males. I'm not an exception on this.
Okay, well, that's a lot about like the physical stuff, like her physical appearance. What about her like emotional or her intellectual? Do you care at all about that? Does that matter to you?
Being a very high IQ person and kind of a crazy genius type of guy, I am extremely charmed at complex female minds. But that is a rare thing. There's not much guys out there who care that much about it. Most people want to establish some kind of low level, I respect you, I kind of understand you type of relationship. I am stunned when I see special women, and I've known some of the
Special women. Okay. Special women. I was actually watching some of the old content about his about this court case and stuff, and yeah, I mean, it seems like he did do some insane shit with this first woman that he got with. She was certainly very special, wasn't she? What was it they said? She had the mental age of an 11-year-old or something.
The weirdest woman in my life. I've been working in a psychiatric clinic in my life, and so I've been exposed to extreme diversity of all the sorts of minds out there. There are women with delusions. There are women with a sense of dark humor that I would
Delusions.
never see in. I would see only 1 in a million women who can do
Is
that
that
kind
an
of jokes.
attraction? Is that an attraction to you, a woman with a like for instance, like the type of women that you met while you were working in that psychiatric clinic, like women with interesting psychological needs?
I never dated any woman that I encountered in the psychiatric clinic, but they gave me an idea of the diversity of what's out there, and is that attractive to me? I would
God, could you imagine working in the psychiatric clinic and there's some fucking insane schizo woman and JF Gariepy is just there bricked up? Dude. Taking it all in for later. Some woman smearing shit on the walls and he's like, oh, interesting. I'll take a mental picture of this for later.
say that it's attractive to my scientific mind because I like being impressed by what the universe throws at us. And I find that any sort of what modern society calls dysfunctions is always reflective of a deep way in which the normal human brain works.
Personal
and I
buffet.
love to see the difference when just one thing goes wrong or just one thing goes in a different direction.
Yeah, Andrew Wilson said about the Pepe Le Pew thing yesterday. That is actually a fantastic kind of concept, isn't it? Pepe Le Pew, but for like psychiatrically damaged women.
In the brain. Imagine a normal brain, but plus delusions. Imagine a normal brain, but plus a little desire to provoke. Imagine a normal brain, but no willingness to display anything to anyone. No care about what people think. Those are the kind of brain that I do find charming and fascinating. They come with sometimes their own problems and their own risks, but I find it amazing that we have such a cognitive diversity in a species that otherwise has included in its dating patterns extreme selection. Like, it's amazing how much a woman scans you as she decides whether she will get inseminated by you. You can go wrong on a lot of things. There's a lot of sentences you could drop that's going to be a deal breaker forever. She might slap you in the face. And despite that extreme sexual selection happening at the moment of dating and the decision of insemination, we have kept an amazing amount of diversity running and living among us. And to me, that's an illustration that this diversity serves something. I don't think that autism, schizophrenia, and all these things, I don't think they exist for nothing. I think they have a role, and it's a form of specialty. It's a niche that we are exploiting.
You said you're autistic last night, right?
Well, I mean, I don't consider myself clinically autistic. I consider myself, though, having the personality aspects of someone who doesn't like social interactions very much, very analytic brain. I have these specific interests that I become very passionate about. So I guess you could say I have these features, but I don't consider them clinical features at all.
Okay. Do you, with the women that you have dated?
Yeah, so he's basically self-diagnosed, right? Or maybe he's just doing the thing, you know, everyone does it, don't they? When, you know, I do it, so I'm autistic or whatever. I don't know, it is normal, isn't it? That you get, like, interested in something and you read up on it and shit like that. That's, like, a normal thing to do.
In the past, have you noticed a pattern of, like, because you find these types of attractions interesting, these mind attractions interesting, have you found that the women that you have dated tend to have had, you know, various mental disorders?
No, but I would say I am open. And being an open guy has attracted women like this to me at different times in my life. But I wouldn't say that I seek them. This is something that women have a hard time understanding, but you women are choosing your males, right? I mean,
Yeah.
maybe you can tell me about how you date, but it's my impression that you do a lot of selection.
What is this? Is it just me, or is there this weird flirtatious tone to this interview? She's doing like this weird flirtatious look towards him there. What the fuck is that about? Does she just find him irresistible or something? Yeah, it's like she's rizzing. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if it's just to get information out of him. I think she might actually be attracted to him.
I do. Yes, I'm pretty.
So
it's just me. Watch this again and tell me it's just me, you fucking idiots.
You women are choosing your males, right? I mean, maybe you can tell me about how you date, but it's my impression that you do a lot of selection.
What the fuck do you call that, idiot? What's that? Is that just a normal, you know? Was Andrew doing shit like that yesterday, for fuck's sake? Andrew was going, ooh. You fucking idiots.
Do you?
I do. Yes, I'm pretty.
So tell me about the criteria. Like, if you were to establish whether you accept a man, what would you be looking for first?
What would I be looking for first? I think this might sound shallow, but I think originally I would want some sort of physical attraction, some sort of chemical attraction. And then after that, I would like an intellectual attraction. So and for me, I would like my partner to
I see. So you said it's not unique to this interview. It's not unique to this interview. It's just what she does. But there is a flirtatious tone, then. That is true. There is a flirtatious tone to what's going on. But it's not unique to JF Gariepy. She just does this all the time.
Sufficiently intellectual.
So she's a whore.
So that I can have interesting conversations with them, so that I can know that we're on the same page when it comes to difficult decisions. And so that's something that's attractive to me, like someone who is mature enough to be in a emotional relationship, someone who's mature enough for fatherhood, someone like these are important qualities for me.
Well, the way most males approach the dating world is not to even have that degree of complexity on what they want. If you push them, they will try to make up a story like, oh yeah, I like girls like this or like that, just to satisfy you that they have criteria. But the reality of male dating in this world is that any woman that is at a minimal standard above a threshold that we have in our brain in terms of beauty, we will fuck. That is just what dating is for males. And so yes, because you have that route, and because I'm an open guy, it means to sometimes bizarre women that I have dated. But it's not my fault because I'm open. Like, people sometimes reproach to me that I am for cognitive diversity and that I am respectful of people with different minds. I don't get it.
I understand. No, it's being non-ableist, which,
exactly.
is... Okay, do you mind if I take a minute to read super chats, and then we'll do the same for the 40th minute mark. So we'll do it every 20 minutes. So let's start. Mashallah,
hey!
Mama JF.
How's it going, Loner Box? Hope you're well. What do you think of all the Twitter takes on Israel-Palestine? It's crazy out there, isn't it?
Was sent to Israel this morning. Let's all, say prayer for Israel, seriously, or a nice thought for Israel. To Lauren's Better Microphone Soundproof Room Fund. I had a wonderful microphone which broke on the way here, which broke on the drive to Miami.
You can never let a guest have better audio than you. That is a no-no in the streaming business.
It's okay. You have a great studio. You have a show. You've been doing it for a while. I'm new to the scene, but you followed me on Twitter before I followed you. So
is that the new status on Twitter? Who follows first? Mexican stand-up.
Should the less intelligent be able to get into relationships and have children? What's your opinion on that? Do you think?
Oh, absolutely.
So you think like if someone is like, let's say like a 50 IQ, do you think that they should have the ability?
See, it's funny when you listen to him talk about this, because I've got this idea that I've seen of JF Gariepy, which is like he just wants to do eugenics, and like anyone under 100 IQ is gone or something like that. But he actually seems to argue the opposite. Like, it seems like his position is it's dangerous to do gene modification to that level and that nature. Although I'm pretty sure he is a race realist, right? That's not like made up. He does believe in race stuff.
Ability to have. kids.
Yes, I radically oppose to any adult human being being interfered by the judgment of others on their decision making, no matter how bad you may think it is.
Alrighty. And I understand that to a certain point because, you have a constitutional right to be a parent, but then again, like, for instance, if somebody has harmed children in the past, you could lose the right to be a mother in the future or father in the future if you've shown to be abusive towards children. But you're right. If you haven't committed
Actually,
a crime
Happy
yet,
Clams, I was like thinking about this, I was thinking about this, right? We all freak out about JF Gariepy now, but if JF Gariepy was in the 1800s, he would be seen as a genius and everyone would be celebrating him and everyone would think the race realism is true and based. Do you know what I mean? Even the stuff with the disabled misses, even the stuff with the retarded misses, people would just think that's normal. They'd be like, yeah, whatever, good luck to you. Whatever. They wouldn't care. He's so scientifically of great mind that he can literally do whatever the fuck he wants and no one will give a shit.
You're just low IQ, then, you have a good point there. Let's try this
There'd
one.
be cities named after him.
Okay, so this one is a little bit dark. I'm sorry, but I did say to the nice audience, I'm going to raise the price to $5 now. So JF equals Coomer who knocked his wife.
So at
off
least
the
if you insult
table.
me, you have to pay $5 for it.
Now you have to pay $5. It's not just $2 anymore. Okay, ask JF about his. So we did before the show say that we weren't going to talk about kids. People have been asking me all day, are they safe or are you still?
Okay, she's an idiot. She's a fucking idiot, right? It's very obvious to me that JF Gariepy does not want to bring his children into affairs because, say what you want about him. He has got some very fucking dedicated haters out there. There's no denying that, right? So like I can definitely see why he doesn't want to bring the kids into this and talk about the kids. And I think that I think anything asking about children, you're probably best off just ignoring. I think that's the best way to go about it because, speaking as a father myself, if I had said to someone, look, I don't want to talk about my kids and bring my kids into this, and all the super chats were about kids, and I kept getting asked about my kids, I would get a bit pissed off and be like, what the fuck? I thought we agreed we're not gonna do this. So we'll see what happens. I got a bit of an insight into what happens later, but if kids are off the table, kids are off the table, and I think poking and prodding like that is just going to end up not working in your favor.
Still taking care of them. I know that you said that you wouldn't get into that. So if you don't want to, you don't have to, but that's just a question I've been getting all day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, she's an idiot. She's trying to subtly get the kids in there. He obviously has got no interest and has made it clear he doesn't want to. And she's trying to fucking squeeze it in there. What an idiot. Okay, let's continue.
Alrighty, let's go on then. So we'll do the same thing at the 40th minute mark. So can you tell me about, as I've been doing some research, I learned about a prior girlfriend. So first of all, Mama GF isn't your wife, right?
She's not technically my wife. We are not married. We are common law spouse, but I consider that she is my wife.
By common law spouse, how long have you lived together? And is there like a statute within the place that you reside that allows you to have some sort of legal connection for it to be considered a marriage of sorts?
We are together since
Not an idiot, a genius, bring the content. I mean, that bit's fine. The content aspect is fine. It's funny to bring it up when he said not to. I like that. I like that aspect of it. Okay, it's a funny thing to do. But my point is that if you're bringing someone on to prod them a bit on what's going on, if you bring up the thing that they don't want to talk about, it's likely going to bring about the end of the interview. That's what I'm trying to say.
2018, we are common law spouse by the standard of the government, but that's not what I care about when I say I consider her a wife. I just consider that our interests in life have been tied forever by the time we have spent together, and I consider that I will always defend her interest and that we are bound to each other forever, even if she gets other boyfriend. I consider that we are there is no way to detach what has been done in reality and what has been produced from our union.
That's beautiful sentiment. I really love that. Is there a reason that you didn't get married? Is it because of the ideology that you're not really a proponent of government?
Yeah, I mean,
Or-
I don't particularly need marriage. I don't think that at this point marriage means anything in and of it as a legal entity these days. So to me, marriage is a strategic question, and it's a strategic question about who has the most money and who, on the other hand, will be potentially draining the money of the other when the divorce happens and the assets are split. And so marriage in and of itself has no meaning to me. The legal aspect of it, to me, marriage, what matters about it is the commitment between the two humans, and that commitment can be done in front of a tree, in the forest, in a park. I don't care.
But you've been married before, right?
Yes, because there were times in the past where marriage was a good strategic decision in terms of combining assets, in terms of living in the same country, in terms of all these legal advantages. And there are then other times of my life where marriage ended up not being the solution because the distribution of assets between the two spouses is ultimately what determines who has leverage in a marriage.
And is your missing girlfriend, is she your first baby mama?
Well, I've already indicated to you that I would not answer anything concerning children. So.
Oh no, she's doing it again. What did she say?
He indicated to you.
Baby mama? Is your missing girlfriend, is she your first baby mama?
Well, I've already indicated to you that I would not answer anything concerning children. So.
Oh, okay. I didn't think. Sorry, I was trying to get I was trying to get around to asking kids, but I was trying to see if they was because I don't want to ask anything.
She said, "Why? You're trying to circumvent the terms of the Why would you say that out loud? Like, we're just telling him what you're doing. What the fuck? Oh my god." I just want to be clear. It's funny. It's funny to me that someone would poke, and the one thing that they said they don't want to talk about, that they would poke at it. But if I'd said to someone, I don't want to talk about my kids, and I was asked 2 different occasions about my kids in some fashion, I would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like we said, we're not going to talk about this. And obviously when you're live, it's difficult because, you know, what can you do? You've kind of got to like ignore it as he did kind of the first time. And then if they ask you a direct question, you've got to just say to them, no, I'm not going to answer that.
Anything that would like expose your family, but I do want to know like your relationship history, and if you have.
What I often say is I am really satisfied by life. I have produced many projects, family projects that I'm satisfied with through many families, and I have an extreme gratefulness for what the physical universe gave me in terms of links to these projects.
Okay, that's an interesting. Projects is an interesting term to use when describing familial life, but yeah, okay. And can you tell us about your daily routine right now? Like what you're doing on a day-to-day now that you're living the way you are?
Well, I've always been an intellectual, so I spend a lot of time thinking. I prepare my show. I promote my book. I'm also a mathematician and a computer programmer. So I do a lot of contract work where companies need solving of complex mathematical problems, and I really love this. I live a very satisfying life intellectually.
Can you tell me like what your day looks like? So like what time you wake up in the morning, and then what you do when you wake up, and then what you do throughout your day?
Well, I wake up, my God, I wake up at maybe noon, and then I start checking if I have work, if I have things that need to be resolved. I take care of all the household duties.
Does he still do science stuff? Is he still doing science-based stuff? Or is he just an online commentator now? Yeah, noon is an odd time to wake up. Most people wake up at like 9 a.m. or 8 a.m., don't they? Warski says he does freelance background shit like ghostwriting. Right, okay. But yeah. I was having a quick look. Apparently his book is like quite well regarded. Obviously, I can't tell if the interviews are just racists that think he's based for the race realism stuff, or whether they actually are like academics or scientists that have looked at the book and thought it's got a good merit to it. Has anyone in chat read it?
The caring of everything that's important in life and that's in the house. And then I think about problems, and slowly as I see that I have less and less work to do, now I can release my mind a little bit and start thinking, what will I talk about on the stream tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time? So eventually an idea of what are the big news items today, what could we talk about, or sometimes I'm just shocked by a random idea that I want to talk about, which becomes the main theme of my show of the night. That is pretty much how my day looks. And then after the show, I go on resolving mathematical stuff, programming, developing efficient applications that are needed by companies that have requested them to me. And then I sleep.
Okay. You live by yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I'm just sensitive because I've got kids myself. Is she trying to find out about like if the kids are in the routine? I don't know. Like to me, that comes across like she's asking that question because she wants to know if the kids live with him. Am I being oversensitive because I'm a parent, or is that what she's doing? Or she wants to move in. Look at chat. Where are your children? She is digging, isn't she? Look at Giga Pajit says, JF. JF. Do you think Mama JF or Andy Warski will contract HIV first? This must be the Kino Casino types that are watching.
Yeah. And how have you been? Because you mentioned on a different show that you've been, I do want to make sure that you've been doing okay, because I would imagine losing your wife. So you used to live, with your wife, your entire family, and now you're living by yourself. How are you doing emotionally? How are you doing mentally? You also have an empty fridge, you said, and you're doing a lot of takeout. I would imagine this is a really tough time. So
What
I'm
is
just
this
like,
takeout thing? I don't do takeout.
what do you do to feed yourself?
Oh, what? I thought we were going to talk about the wife going missing, but we're talking about whether he gets takeout or not. What the actual fuck is going on? Oh my god, man! What are we doing here? This is mental.
Oh, just because I mentioned in the pre-show that I went to the restaurant?
Oh, no. On a different, no, I'm not using stuff
Oh,
from
okay.
the
You were
pre-show.
asking if okay. I thought you were stating that I said that I was doing takeout. No, I actually there's not much takeout options around where I live.
And what are you
Of
just going
course,
to restaurants today?
the description of my fridge was an exaggeration that I've done on a show to describe the fact that I felt relieved that my fridge was no more packed with extreme amounts of vegetables. Of course, my fridge is filled with plenty of food, and I am in no need of care, supervision, or empathy, or need of concerns around my survival and my household.
Well, I mean, having a missing wife, I would imagine, would be extremely difficult. No?
I live well because while my wife is missing, she has been missing from a trip that she has engaged in consensually. So, my wife left, Mama JF left consensually. She wanted to go.
She's at a disadvantage from the get-go. She's clearly unaware of how poisoned Andrew made JF to her prior to this. Oh, you mean because of the woman prattle comment? I mean, I don't think he's poisoned to her because of that, right? That was just a standard misogynistic comment from Andrew. I think what's causing the issue is because she's now asked twice about his kids. And whilst it's not explicit, I personally think that her asking about the routine and stuff like that is some effort to solicit information about the children. Like, clearly, it seems pretty clear to me that her goal here is to find a bit more about the kids, but without, like kind of like overstepping the boundaries of what he said he will and won't talk about, but doing it in a sort of discreet way to kind of garner information without asking directly about it. And I'm guessing that he's probably picked up on that too. And so that's probably why he's got his hackles up or whatnot, right? I mean, when he was talking about his stuff, she was actually doing quite well, asking about his book and stuff like that and his ideas. That clearly got him a bit more chill. But, these questions about the kids, clearly he's on the back foot a little bit now because he's presumably a bit annoyed that he's getting asked about the kids. Yeah, like fishing for info. Yeah, exactly.
Go away. And I'm fine with what she has decided. I don't have to have worries for her because I trust that she has all of the survival skills to survive on her own, even if she doesn't want to communicate with me. So the person who has declared my wife missing is a group of policemen. It is not me. As far as I'm concerned, my wife told me she was going away, and she seemed to be wanting this. So I don't consider her missing. I simply consider her not wishing to contact me.
Yeah. Do you mind if we just I know you've already gone over the story, but do you mind if we go over it again just because?
Yeah, we can go over it.
So June 17th, that's when you drop her off, right?
Yes.
And where exactly did you drop her? You don't have to say the geographical location, but did you drop her off at the bridge or at the gas station? Because I think that was a point of contention.
I dropped her off at a gas station that is located at the very entry of an important bridge in Canada.
Okay. And when you went to that gas station, did you pump any gas?
Did I pump in any gas? I don't remember. I may have. I may not have also, because we're talking about.
What? Oh, okay. Maybe there's a reason for asking that. Is it maybe trying to ascertain whether he... I'm a bit lost. I don't know. No, that's Mindwave's job. The Mindwave pumping gas meme. Where did that even come from, man? Oh, she's doing lawyer shit. Oh, so if he's got a receipt to prove he was there. The thing is, I don't know if you need a paper trail for this because, I mean, it's a presumption on my part, but I would have presumed the police would have gone and checked the CCTV footage or gone and verified that this is the case. But I guess maybe for her own benefit, she wants to know if there's a receipt that she can look at or something, maybe.
About a 1 hour drive, so I would have to check my credit card, but because I've never needed to check for it, because I know that the police who have investigated this drop-off, they know that it happened. So I don't have to make further proofs that it happened. They have understood that it was true, that I did drop my wife on June 17th at this gas station.
They have video evidence from the gas station?
I don't know what they have, but I know that they believe me.
How do you know that?
Well, because they have affirmed that they have had a sighting of Mama Jeff 2 days later at some other place that is totally in line with where I dropped her, and imagining that she has continued her way after this gas station.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna
there is no
guess.
question that she was with me on June.
Gas stations don't save security camera footage. No, but I mean, he's kind of explaining it now. What I'm trying to get across is that the police will likely have made some effort to verify the story that he's telling. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to get across is that the police, this person is missing. Based on the police's actions as described, and based on just basic logic of how these things tend to work, it's likely that he was under a lot of suspicion of maybe doing something when it turned out this person was missing, right? What's likely happened is the police have engaged in an investigative process, and whilst they're still treating it as a missing person case, and there's no, it's likely they still got some issues with JF Gariepy. It's not like they've got eliminated him completely as maybe of doing something. The story that he's telling, they'd have made some effort to verify. And that's why now we've got this statement that the police have released saying she was spotted 2 days later at this location. So I'm not saying that the police have gone and looked at the footage because, yeah, you're right. Maybe they got rid of it. The point I'm trying to make is they've made some effort to verify his version of events. And obviously, that doesn't mean that the police have done the absolute correct thing. There could have been a mistake or an issue or an error or something like that. And exactly, it could be an eyewitness. We don't know the full story exactly. But at the very least, the police have made some effort to verify his version of events. If that turns out to be wrong or incorrect, that's fine. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to get across.
June 17th, and there is no question then that she was somewhere else.
And when you dropped her off, what was she with her? What was on her? What was on her person?
Well, I didn't quite remember what she was wearing, but now that they have had a sighting of her and someone described her clothes as maybe because they saw her on the camera, I now remember that she did have some dark pants and a full leather jacket, as they call it. And she did have also a backpack with stuff that she was planning to use to survive during her travel.
Can you describe the jacket more?
It was a jacket that was kind of the jacket you would expect on a homeless, poor person. A very ugly jacket, kind of looking like ridiculously cowboy-like or hobo-like.
How long has she had that jacket?
I think she had it forever since we know each other, but it's not a jacket.
What is Lauren's background? This sounds like investigation type stuff, right? Is she a lawyer or something? Has she got some background in law?
She would wear in our relationship. It's a jacket that she had stored in our home. And,
she passed the bar. Okay.
She put it on at some point as part of her plan to leave and live on the streets or travel the way she wanted to.
Oh, so you're saying that you wouldn't have any pictures of her wearing that jacket, or like people wouldn't have seen her in that jacket during the time that you guys were dating?
No, I've never seen her wearing that jacket except the day.
Yeah, I can understand. I was thinking, why is she asking these specific questions? She's trying to see if there's any holes in his story or any issues with what he's saying, right? So she's trying to pry and see, are there any inconsistencies or any problems with what is being said? Which, is fine. I don't have a problem. Yeah, his story should be scrutinized, and that's totally reasonable.
Okay. All right. So then she left. She took her phone with her when she left, right?
Yes.
And you guys were communicating throughout the day on June 17th, 18th, and 19th?
Maybe there was a day where we didn't communicate, but yes, I generally knew that she was okay during these 2 days.
how did you generally know that she was okay? Were you calling each other? Were you texting?
Well, because, for example, I don't know if we have a texting on the 18th, but we certainly have a texting on the 19th, which means that she was okay on the 18th also, you know.
Can you show us your text, or can you send me the text? Because
no, this is something that's easily capturable by the police and that I couldn't possibly lie on. So I don't think I need to make my case to the public showing some very private conversation that includes private elements to it. I don't think I need this to convince anyone that this is true. The police is able to capture our text anytime they want.
There's like...
Right, I see. Okay. So because I thought this as well. I thought, why didn't you just show everyone to like show that this is the case and that happened? He clearly doesn't feel the need to prove himself to like the court of public opinion. This like kind of matches up with his, you know, his approach to dealing with a lot of these situations. And obviously it's not explicit there, and you are kind of taking his word for it in him saying it. But what I would presume based on that is the police have likely already looked at these messages or verified that these messages occurred. So when he's saying like the police can check this, to me that suggests that the police probably have, right? If he doesn't feel the need to prove it publicly, why go on the show? I mean, I've been watching this and I'm thinking, oh, that book looks quite interesting. I don't know. I'm not like a JF Gariepy fan at all. So maybe that answers it. It's he's leading into it for the fucking clout or whatever.
Like this thing that you could do on your phone where it blurs out all of the messages except for one. So for instance, I text this loser named Amy, and I can like hide all of the text except for one and do this, you know, and see like,
oh,
hey,
no.
can you do that?
He's not happy with that.
No, I'm not showing my phone.
Okay. I'll stop. Sorry. Like, I'll stop.
It is so ridiculous. It is so ridiculous as a request when even the police doesn't question this narrative. They know that they could know. And it's not, even if I was blurring or not blurring, they could get those messages from the cell phone company. They could check whether I'm lying. And don't worry, they will. So no, I'm not going to show my cell phone to convince people on the internet. You guys cannot believe me if you want for months, and then eventually you'll realize that you were wrong. I really don't care.
No, it's such a difficult situation, and there's so many men who have been in a very similar situation where they were just loving partners.
The thing is I think we're used to this mentality on the internet where we expect messages in situations like this to be released so we can pore over them and look at them. His perspective is obviously the police are dealing with this. They've spoken to me. The police can verify and check what I'm saying. They can go to the cell phone company. And he doesn't feel any need to prove himself to the court of public opinion. Like, I mean, I don't know. This is kind of like, I never apologize, but I've taken to another level. I don't need to prove myself to you.
To a woman, and the woman was either kidnapped or gone missing or just left, and the man was accused of some egregious crime. And then there's been other times when the man, you know, because stats. But then I also listened to your interview last night with Andrew about your feeling on stats and about your feeling on...
Police don't typically comment on active investigations. It's a little weird that he's leaning so hard on the police will verify. Is it though? I just don't. Some of the things you guys are saying, I just don't see it. You know, the more that I hear about this situation, the less I believe this idea that he murdered his wife or something like that. I think more and more information comes out, and it just makes a lot more sense, and it makes his side make more sense. I could be wrong. Maybe in the future there'll be something that comes out, and it will be like he's lied about this, he's lied about that, and then obviously my view on this will have turned out to have been wrong. But I'm just basing it on the information and the evidence that I am looking at and being presented with, and everything that's being said and discussed about this, and that's how I'm kind of coming to this conclusion. And I'm not a fucking JF Gariepy fan at all. I don't, this guy's got like politics that are totally in opposition to the things that I think about and believe or whatever. So it's not about defending JF Gariepy. It's just, I just don't see it. I do not see it. And, the police are obviously on top of this. They've released statements about this. They're clearly looking into it and investigating. And we'll see what comes out in the wash. But, I just personally would always rather, memes aside, I would rather be cautious about coming to a firm conclusion, particularly one that is less likely, based on everything, which is that he has murdered her and she's dead. Because then if it turns out she's alive, you're going to look fucking retarded, aren't you? But if I say, well, I don't think he's done anything, there's not enough evidence for that. But then something comes out later, and it's like, oh, no, he did do something. Well, I was working off what was correct at the time. And now with this new information, I can change my perspective on it. Like, this is basic shit. You do as you wish. Don't get me wrong. If you want to meme about it, joke about it, say, it doesn't matter to me. But my perspective on this, I think is the serious, reasonable perspective based on everything we know about this.
How it's parasitic to think about crimes in terms of stats when each crime is an individual offense. So I have a lot of empathy for your situation. I'm surprised that you're not more emotional about it.
Well, welcome to my life. I'm one of the least emotional men on earth right now.
Why?
Like generally, I am a low emotion guy, what people call a low affect person. I am a rational mind. That is what makes me a great scientist. I have great contributions to do to the world thanks to that aspect of my mind. And on the other hand, I can stay with my head on my shoulder in emergency situations.
JF seems super guilty. This is not a normal way to break up with a partner. I agree with you. This is all completely abnormal to me, and I do not agree with any of how this has been dealt with or handled. But what is he guilty of exactly? Like, has he committed a crime? I don't think he's committed a crime, from as far as I can tell.
I can stay with my head on my shoulder in emergency situations like the one we are in right now. Shouldn't we be thankful that there are people like me? I mean, you want someone like me to be your ambulance guy when you get a heart attack.
Yeah, absolutely. You seem very intelligent. You seem very calm-nerved. To be fair, I think some of the best nurses end up being serial killers, but so just because you might be the best at saving someone's life doesn't mean
that
you're
probabilistic bigotry. I
No,
don't
it's
know what
true.
you think you
Like,
can
for
accomplish with this. It's not intelligent to do this.
No,
It's not
and
intelligent to
it
throw
is
accusations completely freely, gratuitously.
I'm
I could
not
do the same
throwing
accusation. I could come here and say there's lots of women who are crazy. So you're probably crazy too. But I don't do it because I respect you.
Accusations. I'm just saying that I think it's funny because the characteristics that you're highlighting, calm-nerved, which is good for stressful situations. It is true, but it doesn't also mean that you're not capable. But I mean, it means there's the human mind.
Oh no. That did seem like an overreaction from JF. I appreciate he's under a lot of pressure. Wasn't he just saying about how fucking chill he is and he's kicking off? I don't know if that in itself was she's just doing the woman prattle thing, I think. But clearly he does have his backup here. I think the previous things that have happened has led to this. And it's why he's clearly, very obviously on edge. And obviously there's clips of him blowing up on people seemingly kind of out of nowhere in a frustration at something they do. So I think he's got this kind of like autistic view of conversations. And if something happens and he doesn't like, away it goes, he just kind of has this outburst of frustration or anger or something like that. But obviously now she's desperately trying to clamor because she doesn't want to lose this interview. But like the way she's gone about it is probably, I mean, look, I tried to avoid spoilers on this. I've got some insight into maybe what happens later. But her actions in the interview are obviously leading to a circumstance where she's very likely to lose the person, right?
Mind is interesting, and you would know this, right? You would probably know much, much, much better than me, as you are the doctorate in this, and I am the. I got a general education with some psychology, so I probably have a little bit less. Anyway, so
so she's stepping back, going back to praising here. Oh my God, man! I don't know. I feel like it's. Did you see that as well? I feel like I'm crazy when I watch these interactions sometimes because I'm like, am I overthinking this? Am I thinking too much about this? But what that looked like to me is she was clamoring and trying to like figure out a way to progress forward and realizing she kind of fucked things up a bit. But then she kind of like went down a step and went to praise and kind of like demean myself to praise you, to put you back in a position of power. Right? That's happening, isn't it? I'm not insane, am I? That did just happen. Like, she was clamoring for it, then she found it, and she went, oh, you're smart and I'm dumb, basically. Let's continue.
Do you think, let's just take a break. Let's do some super, right?
Okay. I'll play it again.
Which is good for stressful situations. It is true, but it doesn't also mean that you're not capable. But I mean, it means... the human mind is interesting, and you would know this, right? You would probably know much, much, much better than me.
It's like this little moment where she's trying to clamor to think, what do I do? Fuck, I need to say something to get this back on track. The human mind is interesting, and that's her leadway into praise, demean, to put him back on this pedestal to continue the conversation forward.
You are the doctorate in this, and I am the...
It's so funny to watch.
I got a general education with some psychology, so I probably have a little bit less. Anyway, so do you think, let's just take a break. Let's do some super chats and we'll come back. We'll check this out. Okay. Why would your wife abandon her kids? I mean, I know you don't want to talk about kids, but
she's literally just nearly fucked things up in her own mind. So she's taken a step to bring the conversation back on track. And now she decides to bring up a super chat about the kids, which he said he's not going to talk about. Oh my God. Why would you do this? What the fuck?
Her kids. I mean, I know you don't want to talk about kids, but can you at least acknowledge that that is a crime? Like, why would she commit a crime? So we don't have to let's not talk about the kids, but why would she be okay with committing some egregious crime that harms others?
Listen, you're deluded.
Okay. I'm not. I'm really trying to be respectful. I'm not trying to be rude at all. But seriously, how am I deluded? Because I'm trying.
I mean, look at this question is clearly from some like A-log type person, isn't it? Why would your wife abandon her children? One of them is a newborn, according to your neighbors on Facebook. Why would you bring this question up and ask it? I mean, it's kind of funny. If I find the comedy in this of like just not caring about someone, just fucking going hell for leather. But you're going to lose the interview.
It is a crime
because you're attributing crimes to things that you don't understand at all. You don't even meet the standard of prima facie case for a crime. It is not a crime to travel. Is it a crime to go to LA? Is it a crime to travel to LA?
Wait, hold on. What's prima facie? Can you explain?
Yeah, exactly. You know nothing. You're stupid. You are extremely stupid. It's like worse than talking to a monkey.
I've never heard the phrase prima facie.
Yeah, because you don't know Latin and I don't have time to teach you.
No, you're right. I'm so stupid. Anyway, it's hard being this dumb sometimes, but thank you for having the patience to talk to me. But I do know that it is a crime to abandon your kids. And Mama Kay seems like a really wonderful woman. And
he's gone. He's gone.
Fuck, I triggered him that bad. He left. I was really trying.
You kept asking about his fucking kids, you idiot, and he clearly didn't want to talk about it, and it said before the interview. Oh my. Why would you keep... This is the inevitable outcome if you keep doing the thing he said he doesn't want to do, isn't it? What the fuck? Why? Why did she do that? Look, if she wanted to lose the interview, then she's done the right thing. But if you wanted to keep talking to the guy, you're probably best off not bringing the kids into it. She doesn't want to. It is major cope. It's major cope. Oh, you're so triggered that I asked multiple times about the thing you said you didn't want to talk about. Exactly. Exactly. That's why, as much as people were sort of criticizing Big Papa Fascist, like, Big Papa Fascist's interview was more successful because although it might have seemed at times like he was like being a bit of a pussy or not pushing on stuff or whatever, right? There was a reason for that. And it's because he didn't want to end up like this with him fucking off. You know, but he still, I mean, we garnered a lot of information from that discussion that was I found quite valuable to understand and know. Do you know what I mean? But this, I mean, what have we learned from this interview? What have we garnered from this? Like, nothing whatsoever. The woman are retarded. Okay. That he's guilty. Guilty of what exactly? What are you basing that on?
He rage quit. Okay.
You did great.
I tried my best, Amy.
You literally did nothing. There's nothing. You were being so respectful.
Was I? I was trying.
I mean, you pushed him a little bit more. Obviously, it's not going to be a play session. You did good, but I mean, you were not being rude. You were being offensive.
Now we got the fucking cope squad around. Yeah, repeatedly asking about someone's kids when they said they're not going to talk about it is doing nothing wrong. Okay, good one.
I think he started getting nervous after the jacket question. I think that was like a good, I think he was pulling that out of his ass, kind of. I don't know. I think after that, the tone kind of shifted.
They were very valid things. He is on
against detractors on interviewing him.
Hey, thank you for the
can't
bits.
Go this hard on interviews. He's fragile and ego-driven, hair-triggered to run. This is not a debate.
He's being accused of killing his wife, and the traits that you listed are common.
Yeah.
It's a
psychopathy.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay. Well, let's read the rest of the super chats. Why would your wife abandon her children? One of them is a newborn, according to your neighbors on Facebook. JF, do you think Mama JF?
Like, is there no comment on how insane it is that someone is asking a question, based on research they've done on neighbors' Facebook? Oh my god, man. That's wild.
Or Andy Worski will contract HIV first. JF, are there any evolutionary advantages from families raised by single fathers opposed to families raised by single mothers? That's a very good question. You guys want to give a take really quick?
Are there any advantages?
To kids raised by single fathers versus kids raised by single mothers?
I think it literally depends on your income level. So how much you can basically
Are these people retarded? This is a troll that's asking this question because JF Gariepy talks a lot about fucking evolutionary shit, right? And he's asking it because it's like a fucking poke at this personal life being in absolute tatters. Like, dude. And they're taking it seriously and discussing it and dissecting it. They should have done that with the HIV question. At least that would have been funny.
What is it? Subsidize not having the other parent there. So like, what is it? You know, let's say you're a single mother, but from a very wealthy household.
I want to be on camera.
If you're a single mother from a very, wow, I look like a fucking mess. I look.
Is
like
that
I
Pixie? What the fuck?
Oh,
Pixie's part of the Cope Squad.
I have notes.
Yeah,
They're
It's gonna
organized.
worthless now.
but yeah, like you can afford to put your child in like more extracurriculars where they can find like another father figure or like a coach or something that can like be there for them. Like that's a lot easier to do.
My thought was that like this is gonna sound, women tend to live more in the middle, men tend to live more in the extreme. So I think a single motherhood is not going to be as good as like two-parent household. Single motherhood would be better than a good portion of single fathers, but then would be worse in a different portion of single fathers.
I
Like,
can see
you
that
know what I
logic.
mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, this is the person that Nick redacted. Remember that clip where someone was getting Pixie to read out a name and it was like a racial slur, or Faye redacted, you know.
Okay, leaving a mentally disabled woman in the woods. Yeah, I was gonna get to that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. She dies. Maybe she was. Yes. Are you worried about that, JF? I'm really sorry, guys.
See, this would have actually been a good opportunity to, you know, perhaps focus on the more moral aspects of like what he did, right? You know, to talk about more, well, is it the right thing to do? You know, because obviously Andrew didn't really dig into the kind of like moral aspects of it, because clearly Andrew doesn't agree or think it's the right thing to do from his personal system. But from JF's side, he sees it as like his ideology or whatever. But I'm presuming that this person is some flavor of progressive. So you could probably dig into that a bit, you know, and whether or not it's right to like leave someone by the wayside and whatnot. I don't know. But for some reason, she kept asking about the kids and he got pissed off and left.
I'm sorry. I tried my best. What gas station EG Shell was dropped off? I am sorry. These are really good questions, and I was going to get to a lot of these.
Yes! They are good questions. Why did you not ask these instead of hammering the fucking kids point? Fuck. God, what a wasted opportunity, eh? Fucking hell. That could have actually been, there could have been some good questions.
I'm sorry.
He rage quit.
JF,
You know, this makes me feel like he's actually like really guilty.
Yes.
Like before, I was like not like 100%.
Oh my God. These people are fucking retarded, man. How can you discern guilt from that action when there's another very obvious explanation, which is that he got upset because he kept getting asked about something he said he didn't want to talk about? What guilty? How? What guilty of what? How? What is the story with which he is guilty of some crime? What, murder? Fuck me.
Certain, but the fact that he ran away from you like this.
And got so offended about the text message question. I shouldn't have to prove anything. What are you talking about? Like, people are willing to provide receipts for way less egregious accusations, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking about? If you could do something to...
Yes, that's the point I was trying to make, is we have gotten used to this idea that in these circumstances, people just release screenshots and show screenshots of what's going on and go, oh, look, here are the screenshots of everything, right? And that's the standard that we expect and what we tend to look for when we look at these online allegations. Clearly, JF doesn't want to play that fucking game. He's got no interest in proving anything to anyone. So he's just dealing with the police and leaving it at that. I don't think the fact he's not willing to show messages, or the fact that he left upon being pressed on his children, like what, for the third or fourth time, I don't think that shows that he's guilty. You know, there's other explanations for that. People just love the idea of someone like running away from a debate, so they just are playing that bit up. It's, you know, it's funny. Sure, it's funny that he left. I think it's funny she pressed him on it and he left. But I don't think you can think that guilt is necessarily there just because he didn't want to keep getting pressed about his kids.
Why would you not want to do that?
Yeah, no, it's insane.
Oh wait, hold on, I skipped one. JF, can you quote Jack Nichol's character from the line courtroom scene in the movie A Few Good Men? You can't handle the truth. Okay. JF, given that you were a close business partner, sorry, I swear to God, I was going to get to a lot of these. I'm really sorry that I didn't.
See, that's a really good question.
Feel really bad.
You're not asking about the kids. It's kind of a troll question, but like it's not like one he would have any reason to get super mad about. But that's like not too bad a question. It's like it's kind of like half and half, a serious question and a troll. God, there were some really good questions here you could have asked.
He's still watching? Or do you think he just left?
I'm sorry, guys. I think I was too intense on the kids question, but I
Yes.
thought that was like a good.
It is a good question. These are all very good questions, and he just couldn't handle it because
And I
he's
didn't
probably
press.
guilty.
If you say to someone, I will talk to you, but I don't want to bring my kids and talk about my kids in this. Okay? And you go, yep, we'll talk. Okay? Then you can't really ask about the kids if you want the interview to continue. What? Why is this so hard for people to understand? Obviously, eventually someone might leave if you keep pressing them on a topic they've said is out of bounds. Fucking hell.
It's too hard on anything. Like,
No.
if there was any question I didn't want him to, if he felt uncomfortable, I'd ask maybe twice and then I'd move on.
Yeah, no, he's so fucking guilty, man. Like, well, he ran. He got nervous.
JF couldn't handle the truth.
No.
Can you say it, Pixie? Can you scream it to the camera?
Okay, I'll do it just for you. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna take off my glasses. JF couldn't handle the truth.
That's
I'm just trying to do it like
Love it.
This is like just the most
Okay.
brain rot shit I've seen in a long time.
Peanut for brains, Lauren. Oh, sad. I tried my best. No, I didn't. I try to ask about committing, like, she didn't seem to be the type to commit a crime. This is a crime. I try to not, I wasn't asking about the kids. I was asking about
her character.
Also, what is this idea that, like, abandoning your children is a crime? Yeah, if you leave your kid in a fucking ditch somewhere and fuck off, it's a crime. But you can probably assume that the children are somewhere being looked after by someone, right? JF doesn't want to talk about it. I don't know whether or not he lives with his kids, but presumably someone is looking after the kids. I don't think the kid has fucking just been left in a cot or something.
yeah, her like, she doesn't seem like the type to commit a crime that would affect people.
Yeah.
That's a crime that would affect people. Who is the girl with a sexy Aussie accent?
They're calling for you, Amy. The audience wants to know.
Hi.
Who's that girl with the sexy?
She's probably an Aussie. Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of.
stole her
People
from-
call me fake Australian nowadays. It's my accent.
Yeah, listen. F. Roland, this is my position as well. This is what I think about it, right? There's not enough evidence to say that he's murdered her. Certainly not. Right? There's not even, I don't even know if she's dead or alive. Who knows? The likelihood is she's probably not dead. That would be a more extreme case. But if the police find her just chilling somewhere, all of these people that are banging the drum about how she's dead are going to look fucking retarded. I don't know. I just don't know why you'd hammer it so hard when there's not any sort of decent evidence to do that with. It's, as a meme, I get it, but putting your fucking your hat in the ring strongly, seriously, of he's a murderer, he's guilty. You know, you're going to end up potentially looking very stupid. I don't know. I just think go where the evidence is. The evidence isn't there yet. There we go. Leave it at that.
They think I'm faking my accent or faking the American one. Either way.
What's your American accent?
I don't have one, but apparently my Australian is not sufficient anymore.
I hear it. I think you're a fraud.
Sorry, guys. Sorry to disappoint.
Oh, look, someone likes you. Okay, did you respect the rule or not? The no kids rule, yeah, I didn't ask him any specifics about his kids, about their ages, about where they went to school, about who their parent, like, I didn't ask their names. I didn't ask anything about the kids. I asked about her committing crimes and him living alone. And
Okay, so to me, that demonstrates that when she was asking about living alone, she was asking about the kids. She wasn't just asking about whether he lives alone. You in the back of your mind, you wanted to know about the kids. Obviously, that was what was going on there.
He ran. What's his name again? His full name?
I can't pronounce it. I don't know. I'm gonna unfollow him on Twitter.
Yeah. That was weird.
That was mean. He came on straight for the bikini shit.
I'm so curious about all of this, like the backstory now, though. I'm going to look into it tonight.
You could come back on, man. Hold on.
Oh, is he saying to come back on?
Hold on, my phone died. Let me message him. I'm gonna try to get him back on.
He's not going to come back on because he's obviously
get me to
guilty.
the internet? I don't know if he's obviously guilty. Maybe he's innocent.
I don't think anybody who's innocent would run
You know
so
what?
hard.
Innocent until proven guilty. And I think that he might be innocent. So maybe he should give me another chance
I don't know.
to interview
I think
him.
this is the wrong. What is it? I don't know. He would have to come back and be pretty convincing because, like, leaving like that just looks really, really bad.
People are so mad. You broke your promise to him. I swear I didn't mean to. Well,
What do you mean you didn't mean to? You asked explicitly 3 times about the kids, and another time you asked about him living alone, which I interpreted as you trying to dig a little bit to see if the kids were in the house. That's my interpretation of
invite
this.
him back with Mama J.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, I would. Fuck yeah, I would. Absolutely. Why wouldn't I? It'd be great. I hope he does. That went really poorly. I'm blocked. Amy, can you
You're
text
blocked?
him for
He
me?
blocked you?
I'm sure he follows you already if he likes girls based off their profile pic.
She's acting like he left a police interview. He left a dog shit stream with a retarded woman. Wait, did he block
I'm sure
her?
he follows you already if he likes girls based off their profile pic. Follows girls based off their profile pictures.
You want to message him off my account?
No, you just like be like,
What's his name again?
yeah, I know, right? It's like impossible to pronounce. I'll pull it up. It's in my title.
What is this dude's name?
Jean-Francois Gariepy.
Jean-Francois Gariepy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, why did you leave?
Apparently he's still watching. Yeah, of course. I just want to find out the truth. I don't know if he's guilty or not.
I don't know. I think he would have to make a pretty convincing case coming back because like the way he left, I'm just saying, left like a guilty man.
Someone's saying, hey, cute blonde girl.
I love this standard that if you leave an internet stream where someone is asking questions about your kids when you've asked them not to and they do it repeatedly and you leave, you're guilty. What the fuck? Good Lord. Good fucking Lord, it's all over for the criminal justice system.
You lost your cool and failed. I did? I don't remember losing my cool. The thing is, like, I think he misunderstood me when I was asking that question because I was like the crime and he thought I was accusing him of committing the crime of murder and I wasn't. And like as somebody who has represented people, so I was a public defender.
Men can't even have boundaries in a podcast, but I mean, true. You know, it's classic, isn't it, really?
Briefly on a limited license in Arizona. And when I did that, I had some cases where people said, okay, listen to this case. I had this woman, right? They hand me the case and she's like, she literally stabbed her son.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then they showed me the pictures and like, there's just like blood, like trickling down his face and it's a kid and it's like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, so I call her and I'm like, okay, here's the plea deal. Like, you're going to sign it, right? She goes, no, I'm innocent. I'm like, excuse you? Like, how are you in it? Like, you literally had like the weapon in your hands. You had blood on you. You had his blood on you. Like, how are you fled the scene? You were caught like a block away by the cops. Like, well, how are you innocent? Okay, here's the story. She's like, I think she had a legitimate case of self-defense where she had gotten impregnated as like a young teenager, like not even like 16 or 17. And she had this kid and then he became an adult. And then when he became an adult, like she didn't even have contact with him throughout his life. His dad raised him.
Mm-hmm.
And then his dad died. And then his grandpa couldn't keep him because he was so violent and like rageous. And then like he would do these wild parties and he was just like a troubled kid and all of this stuff. And so then he got sent to her. And at this point now she's like an adult with young children.
Right.
And she like can't, and she's now a single mom. And this kid starts beating on her all of the time. And then one time she defends herself with a fork. And then
That's enough.
and then yeah, she got locked up. Okay. Yeah, I thought that was
Wait! Just based on a description, maybe she had a case of self-defense. I don't fucking know. And then she's like, yeah, well, she got locked up, didn't she? She was apparently the public defender. Is she saying she lost the case? Obviously, we don't know anywhere near enough to come to any conclusions about any of that, do we? But
interesting. But so I thought she was innocent. So there are plenty of times where it seems guilty, but in the end, the person is innocent. You don't know the full story. So I really would love to give him the benefit of the doubt and have him back on. But I think he took me wrong. I think we got up on the wrong foot.
I got nervous. You put him on the line.
How did you expect that to be taken?
Will you invite him back when Mama J shows up? Invite Mama J on, grab a Ouija board. Ethan Ralph, ex-pro on Rumble streamer, and Kino Casino streamers are stream sniping. Either one might have you on the post. Time to flash! Oh God, I'm just kidding. That would ruin my stream, unfortunately. But fuck you for sniping. Your friend with glasses is just an angry feminist.
Yeah.
Oh, pulled out.
That's the angriest. I fall into like fits of rage in this apartment. It's really scary.
Facts. Pixie is my queen and my piece. Okay. All right. I'm sniping. Stop sniping. Don't snipe me. What the fuck? Sniper, no sniping. Like, what the fuck? Okay, y'all. I see Amy is preparing my meal for me. So I'm gonna go light that up. Have a good one.
Bye.
Wait, check if he's messaged you.
He blocked me. There's no way.
I messaged him.
Wait, hold on. We'll wait for Amy. Give it a second.
He blocked her. He blocked her. Jesus.
No. Okay, with that, peace.
There we go. That was quite fun to watch at the end. A little bit of bonus content. I just I don't know. I just don't understand how the more you find out about this, you can come to believe more that he murdered her. Like, the more you find out, the less likely that is, surely. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously, if more information comes out and turns out he's lying or the police have got something wrong,